All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us for this COVID-19 webinar. With the world facing this pandemic, we felt it only right that us at Magnitude play our part to help combat this deadly disease. For those of you who don't know us, we have developed a platform that allows us to digitize business processes and deploy them on a mobile and web-based application without writing a single line of code. We essentially specialize in taking companies' processes digital. We have developed a COVID-19 solution to help companies understand how their staff are feeling, what they can do as an organization to help, what advice they can provide their employees to during this time, and to help streamline data and communication to calm the anxiety and disruption that we're all feeling at this current time. With that being said, I would also just like to iterate that we as Grow Mobile will not be profiting from the solution, but rather providing this as our social responsibility to all existing clients at no charge. However, with this being said, we have received a number of companies who are not current clients requesting the solution, and we are concerned with the server overload based on new companies utilizing this process with all their staff. So new companies coming on board to use the solution would be charged a nominal fee of 3,000 Rand a month. This will be used for server upgrades. The provisioning and support of the application will be completely free. All right. Let us now jump into the COVID-19 ecosystem and application. All right, for all our existing clients, this should look pretty familiar to you. This is essentially just a app ecosystem, essentially a process flow that we use to take a couple of conceptual users and get them just to run through the process, just so you can see exactly how this tool is utilized within an organization. So you can actually see on top over here, we've got a user, Cindy, and we've got Carl, who will be the employee. I will actually be taking over as Keagan as the employee in this scenario. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to just display the phone. Just give us a moment here. There we go. All right, so I'm actually going to log into the COVID-19 application. Essentially, this solution is deployed at a managerial level, and the idea is that the HR manager, or in this case using the HR manager, would essentially send out a COVID-19 awareness to every single employee that fits underneath them. And essentially what will happen is, by going in and actually clicking on over here, the COVID-19 awareness, we're going to begin this process. All right, I now go in and I select track employee. As you can see, sitting over here, Cindy would either add the employee's contact details. In this case, I'm actually just going to go and I'm going to select myself as the direct respondent, or the employee at this case. Select my details. So you can actually see this is the employee's details over here. As I go down the form, start the process for this employee, click submit. So I actually go and I click the submit button. So essentially what happens now over here is I can see this form. And in this form, we've just got some basic information, who it actually came from and who it was sent to. Just give us a second there. Do apologize for this. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to go back into the daily health check. Alright, so at the top of here I can actually see the person that it's been sent to, and I've actually also just received the SMS. So me now playing the role of the employee, I actually received this. And it goes, health checkup. Hi Keagan, we have taken the initiative to track your daily well-being. We want to know how you're feeling and your progress in the event that you contract corona. Please do the following. So it actually just says you click on the link, provide us with your current health by completing a check. Each morning, please re-click the same link and submit so we can track your health. I actually go now and I actually select the link. And this now basically opens up a COVID-19 mini website, which we call a .mobi that we've designed. So essentially, me being the employee, there's no need for me to download any app. It's completely interactive both on email and on SMS. So in this case, I've actually just opened the SMS section. And we can go through and we can see, okay, all the symptoms COVID-19. Please complete now and upon wake each day. So I'm going to go and say my location is home. Have you experienced any of the following symptoms? I'm going to say no, 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 and no. And essentially, do any of your household members experience the symptoms? In this case, I'm going to say yes, and I can provide the comments. Still in working health. And I go submit. Now by actually clicking submit, you can see my submission was successful. Help us help you. Please remember to complete the health check tomorrow by clicking the link in the SMS and email. And at the bottom here, we've actually got a click here. And this is just essentially rerouting us to the World Health Organization, where we can just see what exactly is going on with the COVID-19 based on all the information on the World Health Organization. All right. From the application side, if I go home over here, all right, received a notification. And I can see over here that Keagan has responded. I can click on it at the top. Me now playing the role of the manager, I can actually see, okay, this was the information that was sent to Keagan Mitchell. Let's see what his response is. I can immediately see at the top over here that he's got an 80%. When I go down now and I see, okay, he is not experiencing any of these symptoms. However, there is a member in his household that is experiencing these symptoms. So what I can actually do now as the manager is I can use the application to engage with Keagan using an external chat. So once again, no need at all for the employee to download the application, but just by going into the chat function and maximizing the form details, I can see, okay, yes, we are indeed speaking about this particular form. I go down to the bottom over here and I begin by selecting the @ sign. You can see at the top here, this user has actually got an email and a mobile. So this is essentially the actual employee that this COVID-19 has been sent to. And over here, we can actually just see that these are some of the managers that can all engage in the chat around this particular form related to this employee. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and I'm going to select Keagan. And I'm going to go and say, of your household experiencing these symptoms, please look after them. And whatever else, and I actually send. So this is just basically opening up lines of communication with the employee just to say that, hey, us as a company, we are here, we want to help you through this time, give them the best advice we possibly can, and just know that they have a place where they can actually chat to us around how they're feeling and what their current situation is. All right, so you can actually see that this has been sent from Kyle to Keagan. All right, now what's going to actually happen is me as the employee, I'm going to now actually receive an SMS and email again, just relating to this particular chat. It takes about a minute or so to come through. In the meantime, I'm actually just going to go back and back to the home screen. And you can actually see that on my home screen, Over here, we have sent out 47 of these to employees. Obviously, this is all just for demo basis, just to basically illustrate how we deploy this. In order for us to basically produce this solution, we have created a template that takes us about an hour to an hour and a half to deploy on a company's current app. You can see on the top, I've actually just gotten the SMS. I'm just going to click on over here, and you can see I've got health check communication. I'm sorry to hear about the member of your house experiencing these symptoms. Please look after them. And I can actually click on the link now to engage with the company again without actually needing the application. So as long as I can basically click the link, open up this mini website, I can actually begin communicating back to the business to say, this is how we're feeling, this is what we're doing. I'll just give it a second. Alright, so this is essentially just the form information, and right here I can actually see that Kyle's communicated with me to say this, and I can actually just send something back to say thank you. We will keep you posted and fill in our form every morning. And I actually send back. So now we're just basically allowing for communication on this platform, or compartmentalized to this particular employee, allowing the managers to track and manage exactly what's going on. Alright, that message will go through, and there we go. So if I now actually go back to the application, I can actually see, okay, I've got a chat waiting for me. So by going into the actual chat now, I can see, okay, where does this come from? So I can see, okay, this came from Keaganm. I can actually click on the chat itself. I can actually just extend the form just so I can see all this information again. I can see the communication, and so we go on. And this is just basically allowing for collaboration during this time, allowing your employees to just say, hey, we're feeling, like we might potentially have this. What can we do? Maybe it's about giving them some advice. And essentially, overall, in terms of tracking this, when I go back to my unresolved, which is just a list of all the employees that I've essentially sent this out to, Alright, so you can actually see over here, this is actually the form that was sent out to Keaganm, and here was actually Keagan's response, so we can see his 80%. What I want to quickly just take your attention to is just this file at the top here. So by selecting this file, this is basically just opening up the status of this particular employee. So over here we can see that based off just this form being sent out, the COVID status is unknown. In the case that this person is actually tested, they would go and they would select tested positive over here. And through that, we actually pull this all to BI, which I'm going to bring up in a short while. Alright, this over here is actually just if tested negative, and this is to show if the employee is actually recovered. So just a couple ways that we actually use the status is just to help through this process. Alright, on the back end, what we do is we're basically now taking all this information specific to a company, and we're actually pulling it through to this Microsoft dashboard that you can see over here. So this is essentially just a very conceptual BI dashboard that we've put together just for the purpose of this demo. All right, and this is just basically showing, okay, the total of employees that this has been sent out to is 15. The total responses that we've got is 20. All right, down here we can actually see, okay, the total submissions by employee. So we can see all these basically conceptual people sent out. We can see the number of submissions that they've. And once again, we can actually over here look at the trend analysis. And what's quite nice about this BI is that it actually allows us, by selecting a particular person, for example, Keaganm, this whole report essentially becomes dynamic. In the sense, I just give it a second to load. Essentially what happens is now we can see, okay, we can actually see the analysis happening over here. So he's experienced these symptoms once based off his submissions. We can go down, we can actually see his average health score is not good based off those submissions. We can actually just see, the location, all these things like that. So, the idea is just to basically be able to track and monitor what's happening with the employees in a more sort of user-friendly dashboard. All right, this is actually opening up into an actual location over here where we can just go and see all of that, and actually go down and see, okay, here are Keagan's submissions, here's all the information, and this all relates to the top of the form essentially. So that's just another way that we're basically using the Microsoft tool to essentially help employers just track and monitor what's going on in their organization. All right. Going back to this side over here, essentially what we've got is once again this form. Once we're actually finished with this particular person, that this crisis has moved away from the world, we can essentially actually just go in and use this tick over here to resolve. And this essentially just helps us manage what's happened there. So I think, just from our side, the world is experiencing a very serious pandemic at this moment in time, and we just wanted to do the best we could to essentially show companies how, using mobile tech, we could just help sort of combat the curve of this deadly disease. I actually see we've got a question over here where we've got a group. Someone's asking if we could please show the use of a group. So how this actually works in the group scenario would be, once again, I would actually just click the button to start the process. I'll actually go track employee. If we go over here to the group perspective, we'll just type in, let's go. So in order to basically create a group, what we'll do is we'll go down, we'll click the plus, we'll go add group. This would essentially just put in here, we'll just call it test 1. We'll click this button on top over here, which is just to basically open up the group. So in this case, I'm just going to select myself. And I'm also going to select, let's put in Scott. So we've now got 2 people involved in this group. So obviously this is just to send out a mass communication. Obviously this tool's considered quite a bit more powerful if it's done per individual, because it just allows for that compartmentalized conversation and responses to actually see. But in this case over here, you can actually see in my group, we would basically have Keagan and Scott both selected here. By pressing submit, both of these employees will now receive the same SMS, and when their response comes in, both those responses will actually fit in right underneath the form. So you'd be able to see over here, we've got Keagan to test 1, and the people in test 1 are Scott and Keagan. And as they fill in, you can see that this form at the bottom here is actually a link. It would do the same thing just with 2 responses now, or however large the group may be. I do want to reiterate that it's probably better to try and do this per employee, as it allows for more specific compartmentalized conversation. However, the group function is available. I hope this answers everyone's questions. Please everyone just stay safe out there. And just thanks again for basically taking the time to join in with us. This is the last live webinar we will be doing. However, we will make this link available to everyone. We'll actually put it together in a nice graphic. We'll send it out so anyone can watch this video at any time. Any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email and my number is in the description below, as well as the link to where you can actually request to see this app personally on a Skype call or anything like that. Thanks everyone. Stay safe and